about Yiddishkeit, Pirchei welcomes them.
Right. So
100%.
besides running an office, right, you're in the national director. Besides that, you own a Pirchei monthly. Is that correct?
Pirchei of Passaic.
Passaic.
Yeah, I don't own. I mean, I
You're coordinate that Pirchei.
Pirchei
So
Passaic. That's
two
correct.
jobs in one job.
Well, I like to say I'm a playing manager.
Playing manager.
I'm a manager. I manage the national. I also run work and have a local branch, and I'm also a Rabbi in the morning in Passaic, New Jersey.
So many things. Baruch Hashem.
Hashem.
So stuff to keep us busy is very good thing. You know, this is why Pirchei is a very good thing. Now, what would you say to a child? Let's say he came home very upset about a Pirchei, and a father reported to you that some incident happened. Can you explain to the child how could you say to the child you can come back next week and see how it is next week? Or
well, it's like that with anything. It's like in a classroom. If a boy comes home complaining that someone bothers him, see, with Pirchei it's a little different, because a school, a boy comes back anyway. He has to. His father's not letting him stay home. But Pirchei, if he comes home from a Pirchei and he had something, he has a complaint, the father says, don't go back next week. Right? Now, if I would see the boy and he would complain to me, I would encourage anyone, and I encourage the parents, call me if your son has an issue.
Boys have to speak out.
And if so, certainly, if a boy is being chas v'sholom, bullied, chas v'sholom,
right?
They should speak. They should call the Pirchei director and tell him this is the situation, and we will do everything we can to make this boy comfortable where he is.
Since you're the national director, let's say a kid has a problem in a different area of Pirchei, would they be able to call you as well? Or
they could call me. But I encourage anyone that they should really call
their coordinator,
their national. No, they should call their branch coordinator first.
Their branch coordinator, right?
Right, and the branch coordinator should be called first, and then if they're not getting anywhere, then they can call the national office. And if you don't mind, I'll give the number 212-797-9000. My extension's 272. Feel free to call.
So you wouldn't mind if the kids. What was the number again?
212-797-9000, extension 272.
All right.
But you maybe you can ask me about this further in the conversation. But we also have a national hotline, a phone line, right?
Phone line. Yeah, I heard the actually the Pirchei Agudas Yisrael.
Phone line. There it is.
There's the hotline right here.
There it is. Okay. There's the camera.
You can see it on video.
Okay.
And this is the system instructions. And yes, please call, because there's amazing stories. And if you are, of course, you want to be a junior storyteller on the Pirchei hotline, you can do that as well, right?
Mm-hmm. That's correct. And it's run by a very capable fellow, Rabbi Tzvi Rifkin.
Rabbi Tzvi Rifkin, does I met him recently.
Fantastic work. He set that up completely on his own. He set it up completely on his own. He didn't need any help.
Wow.
He did a tremendous job doing it. And we have a national line that goes to the entire country. Anyone can call in. You want to announce the number? You have the number there.
So I have the number, the Pirchei hotline number. If you'd like to call the Pirchei hotline, you can call 718-663-0212. That number is 718-663-0212. They got stories, they got levy, and they got a lot more, it says. Yeah, and you can listen to the instructions on the phone line. So let's going back to the Pirchei. Going back to the history of Pirchei, So you said Rabbi Elimelech Tress. So tell me more. What was Elimelech Tress? Mike Tress. I remember I read a story. He used to be a general, right? Is that right?
Well, not exactly. Mike Tress was came to. I don't know if he grew up here, but he came at a very young age, and he did like most American kids in those days.
I remember he knows Rabbi Sher.
Yeah, Rabbi Sher, right? Rabbi Sher is his cousin. And he started as a young boy, and he did like probably most of the other kids in his day, went to public school, and he got interested, and he heard that there was in one of the shuls they had a small group of young guys who got together, an Aguda group that got together for Shal Shudas, and he joined it, and he became very excited with it. And eventually, in those days, they had elections for officers.
Really,
He
they
ran
didn't have like nowadays, huh?
like today. You just get, you just get appointed,
Just
or
get
or you get
promoted.
hired. In those days, everything worked with elections, and they had elections for for officers, and he ran for president.
They ran for president.
For president of the small little Shalosh group.
That's cute.
And he, yeah, if you read the book, they called him Mike. It's laid out there.
Right.
And
They said
he
a lot of stuff about
and
him.
he won the election, and he took off, and because of, I mean, he was a very big go-getter and very aggressive, and he launched many different projects that group did, and which eventually became what we know today as Agudas Yisrael of America. Originally, it was called Sirei, and then eventually it took on the name Agudas Yisrael, and they did tremendous work. That picture, if you see Mike Tress wearing a uniform, it's not because he was a general in the army. He was probably too old by 1942.
Yeah, I was always mistaken. I always thought he was a general.
He went because he worked for the Vad Hatzolah.
I remember he used to save Holocaust survivors, so go into Ellis Island. He used to get them in. I remember in the book.
That is correct. And he went to after the war. He went to the camps to try to save as many and help out as many Yidden as possible.
Right, but I believe there was somebody else behind the scenes with him, right? Besides him, there was somebody else.
Well, there's Rabbi Eliezer Silver.
Rabbi
was also very involved in Hatzalah work, and Mike Tress really built up a lot of.
So he's the one who founded Pirchei.
Yes, it seems.
All
That,
right.
it seems
so now we talked about Pirchei. Now we're going to talk about. Of course, I know you're not the leader, the national director of Benos, but I know Benos is a part of Agudas as well.
That's correct. Benos is the girls' counterpart to Pirchei, and it is run by a very capable person, Mrs. Chana Lahas. And was before her, it was run by Mrs. Leah Zegelbaum, who today is the communications director of Agudas Yisrael of America.
Oh, okay. So
and she that's right.
She got hired.
Right. She moved up, right? And Mrs. Haas is running the local. She's the national director for Benos, and she has some really beautiful pro. I don't know much about the history of Benos and who was where and when, and who was before Mrs. Zegelbaum, but I do know that Benos does tremendous. They're really the counterpart, the girls' counterpart to Pirchei, and they have groups, and they have.
I remember my older sister used to talk about, I'm going to Benos, and she used to come home with a really good smile. So those girls that are listening, for the boys that were listening, we're talking to right now Rabbi Ephraim Levy, the national director of Pirchei Agudas Yisrael of America, and we just finished discussing about Pirchei, and we are discussing about Benos and girls out there for girls. It's like Pirchei, but it's called Benos Agudas Yisrael, and it's one of the greatest programs for girls to be in.
Okay, well, first of all, just we have some text here asking question if there's any branches in Marine Park.
Are there any branches in Marine Park?
That's a great question. As of now, there is something starting. The person to speak to is Rabbi Peretz Levine from Pirchei of Torah
Peretz Levine. I believe I have his number as well.
Yeah, Peretz Rabbi Peretz was here on the radio with Rabbi Eckstein.
That's right. That's right.
And very, very good friends. And,
right. So Rabbi Peretz Levin, he's working on getting something started in Marine Park. Unfortunately we do not have anything set up as of yet, but there is something happening.
If you're a boy and you want somebody to start it, you can go ahead and spread the word about spreading the Pirchei word.
And anyone can
call. Let me ask you, sir, because I know that my kids are involved with the other organization, the zone. Pirchei is more to the Kiruv Krovim, right?
That's correct.
And for example, you need a shul. How the activity is running?
Okay, so every neighborhood is different. Usually, many of the shuls or the schools do donate space if people need to coordinate groups. Shuls, schools, centralized locations. There's only one Pirchei. It used to be two that have their own place, their own Pirchei center. It used to be in Chicago, but they don't have it anymore. And Passaic, where I am, we have our own Pirchei building where we run our groups out of and other programming.
Well, talking about Pirchei, I actually just got a text from Yiddy Schwartz. Mazel tov, Yiddy! Wow, such a freilich news.
Okay,
You just had a boy.
Oh, Mazal
Wow!
Tov.
Wow!
Yeah, how do you
Wow!
say?
That
Okay.
is a big mazel tov.
Yeah, how do you say in
Yeah.
Yiddish? Mabruk.
Yiddy
Mabruk.
Schwartz, Mazel tov to you. And
Wow!
if you listen
Okay.
to my show, Yiddy, you're mentioned, and as I said, we have our friend Levy over here. So yeah, this past week I remember that we had a Mlava Malka. So besides gathering in Pirchei, we have also Mlava Malkas,
That's right.
and we have trips. So why do you think a child would have his doubts about joining Pirchei?
Well, I don't know who has their doubts about joining Pirchei. It's a great program and it's very exciting.
Meaning when the doubts
They
about
might not have the time, or they might not have. They might be busy with other activities. So this is just not on their list.
meaning doubting, meaning like they were scared to try it. Why do you think that is? That they'll be scared to try something?
I think it's just because they don't know what they don't know what it's all about, or maybe someone might have told them, "Oh, don't go because it's babyish" or something like that. But they don't know because they haven't been there. Some boys don't go because they don't like to get out. They like to stay home. Everyone has their own reasons. But one thing's for sure: if they go, they'll be thrilled that they did.
They'll be very happy. Well, anyways,
Just again, I would have hello from your neighbor, Zorach.
Zorach Spira?
Yeah.
Oh, tell him thank you. Tell him if he's listening or if he sees me. Hi, Zorach. Hey, like this?
Okay, wait.
With Torah and good
I
greetings.
wave to him.
Okay.
Okay, now because we're just talking, we're talking about the history and all this stuff.
go ahead.
I would love to hear something small, piquant stories about kids. If you have something stories, funny, something good trips, something that happened. That a lot
Okay.
of things in this.
You want a
years that
funny
happened.
story? You want a
Anything
inspiring
that could
story?
entertain them.
You can be the boss of them. We have time. We still have some time.
Yeah,
So
we
I'll
still
tell
have
you
a
like
half
this.
hour.
I have one story which I was in the middle of telling. I was telling
Moish.
Maish was that I had a boy. This is a very inspiring story. We had this. I was saying that we have this minyan, and there was this boy who was davening, and he was tripping over his words. He really couldn't daven for the Yom very well, and because it was Pirchei, nobody said anything. Nobody said anything to him. No one said anything. No one insulted him. No one made fun of him. And a few weeks later, he tried again, and he tried again. Eventually, he got so good at it that he became the gabbai of the minyan. And now today, he's a bacher learning in Lakewood. He learned by Rabbi from Yeshua, and he really steiged. He really grew from the whole experience. And there's countless stories like this. Any Pirchei director can tell you that he had stories where boys were just started and they were shy and they were timid and not even.
Right, I have a lot of that in
that's
the
right.
Pirchei
And
Berlin.
that's right.
I'm
And
dealing with
even the
them.
good boys, even the boys who are excelling, who are the top boys, they also get a tremendous chizuk out of coming to our peer groups. I take a group every year to Montreal to the Sima Shnayas. Montreal makes a Sima
Montreal
Shnayas.
makes their own
Sima Shnayas. They invite cities, so Toronto comes and Providence, Rhode Island comes.
So each one has their own time.
Well, that's right. So like the Mid Atlantic, which you guys are working on,
Right.
that kind of, and it's a different Shabbos, and they also have boys. But I was saying, I once brought a boy on this trip. I take a whole bunch of boys, the whole group. I take up to Montreal from Passaic, and on that trip there was a boy who was struggling. He was really struggling in life. He was struggling with his family, and on that trip he met a chaperone, someone like yourself, a Pirchei leader, and this boy and this bocher connected with him, and this boy really his whole life turned around from that day on. He became a different kid. He really became a different kid.
Tell us some like about trips going on. Let's say sledding and stuff like that. Is there like some interesting stories you could tell us?
Oh, I don't really. My Pirchei, I don't take that many trips except for, like I told you, this trip to Montreal. And we had a very cute story that we had boys going to Montreal, you have to bring your paperwork,
passport,
right?
Like that.
And we had a boy who came and he brought his birth certificate. I told the boys they could bring a birth certificate, but boy